Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. This is KatoLlama365 here, and today I'm going to be going through the developer update released this month, April 2020. It was last edited on the 6th. Today is the 8th. Hopefully I get this video put up on the same day. But I just wanted to kind of go through the changes that are going to be coming to Dead by Daylight soon in the mid-chapter update. And just kind of give my thoughts on them and explain them as I go through. So without further ado, I'll hop right into that. The first big change coming has to deal with generator repairs. So an issue a lot of people kept citing with the game is that sometimes generators just pop too quickly. So survivors could team up. Too many would be on one generator, especially at the start of the match. If all the survivors spawn together, it felt really unbalanced from a killer's perspective, as they just don't have the time to get to that generator, and it's almost just like a free gen for those survivors. So to fix that, they've done a couple of different changes for repair speed. The first is going to be reduced efficiency when repairing with other survivors. So just kind of skip down here. Right now in the game currently, when another survivor is repairing generator with you, your personal repair speed is going to decrease by 10%. Going forward, this is going to be bumped up to 15%, because that's right there. So, and they admit to this sounds like a small change, but with the example here, if all 4 survivors are finishing a generator, right now it would be only 28 seconds, but this is going to bump it up to 36 seconds, and that extra 8 seconds is it can make a difference in a lot of situations, and it helps killers get there maybe before the generator pops, maybe not still, but it's just a little bit more time for them, and we all know that time is one of the biggest factors in whether or not your game is successful, so whether or not you win. So that is one of the main changes coming in terms of generator repair speed. They're also going to change skill check bonuses. So currently, a successful great repair skill check is going to add 2% progress to the generator, and that is equivalent to 1.6 seconds of time that would have been spent working on the generator. So that shaves 1.6 seconds off of the total repair time. But since this is an update all about fixing repair speed and generator times, they're going to go ahead and have that. So instead of 1.6 seconds of time saved, it's going to be 0.8 seconds, since it's only 1% of generator progress. But then to kind of add something for the survivors, so great skill checks are still worth hitting, at least in their eyes. The amount of blood points earned for great skill checks have been doubled. So instead of getting 150 blood points for every great skill check, that's bumped up to 300. So yeah, it's going to be a little bit less time saved when you hit a great skill check, but you still get more blood points. So that's just to kind of try and balance it out. And then, like I said, with all of this in mind, 2 of the survivor perks have been changed. So Prove Thyself has now increased the repair speed bonus from 10 to 15%. That just helps as they're increasing from 10 to 15% there. And then the perk Stakeout now increases the great skill check success bonus from 1 to 2%. So they just kind of change those perks to emulate what they changed up here. So in terms of repair changes, I understand why these changes are being made. I actually am a survivor main. Typically, I do play killer a fair share of time, but I do tend to be more of a survivor main, so I acknowledge that this update is probably more killer oriented or killer focused. I'm not sure exactly how to word that. It's more in the favor of killers, as it is really kind of adding time for survivors that we didn't have to spend on generators before. However, I do recognize as well that one of the last big updates totally nerfed the perk Ruin, which accomplished this in a very similar way. So one thing I do think is interesting is in that update, they said, well, a lot of players can't hit great skill checks, that's why we're going to have to change the way that Ruin works. But now they're saying too many people hit great skill checks and they have to change it. I do think that's a little odd, but I understand why they're making these changes. It just kind of helps balance that, since the last update was more survivor focused. In terms of perks, I think that's a good way to balance it out as well. Moving on, they have a lot of map changes coming up as well. So the main things they're going to be changing are here. First is size and layout. There are a couple of maps that are just massive and it can take a really long time to cross. So when the killers are trying to get from generator to generator at the ends of the map, it just takes a lot of time that all 4 survivors are probably working on generators, healing, cleansing, all of those good things. So it's just going to help killers be able to control the map a little bit better. Also type spacing, so some maps allow maze tiles, which are things like jungle gyms or LT walls, just any of those walls you see around the map. It allowed those to spawn too close to each other. So if you're an experienced player, you could just run from out one, run there for a while, move right to the next one, and they're just close enough that it's going to be really hard for the killer to catch you. Which, I mean, as a survivor, I mean, that doesn't sound like a bad thing to me, but I do understand that it can be very frustrating when it's almost impossible to catch up. And I do understand why they need to kind of make this change here. They're going to be spaced further apart, so it just helps control the safety of those. Moving on to strong window balance. Certain windows on some maps were too safe. These are going to be your infinites, your infinite loops. There are certain windows that you could jump through. The killer has to vault the window and then will be put significantly behind you. So they are going to go ahead and change a lot of those windows, either getting rid of them or altering the loop, things of that nature. Tile tweaks, they've also changed a variety of the tiles, or many of the tiles, so they're adjusting loop lengths, fixing spots that survivors could abuse, and just infinite loop, like I said. So they changed a couple of those loops. One of the biggest things here is going to be window spawning logic. So some maps have buildings featuring windows that can be in different places depending on just how they spawn in, and it's random. So they're going to go ahead and change that because sometimes a building would be incredibly safe one match, be totally unsafe the next match, and this is going to be disabled. That random element is going to be disabled on some maps to kind of control that. So you don't go into a map expecting a building to be safe or unsafe and it be the opposite. And then they did say here too, there are a lot of changes, large and small, so they didn't go in depth about each one on here, but they do have a chart right here. I'm not going to go ahead and talk about every single part here. If you want to spend more time on it, you can go ahead and pause the video now. But as you can see, most maps either have a change coming to their size, which is this kind of first chunk of maps here, or their loops are going to be changed significantly. So there's that. Like I said, you can pause the video if you want to spend some more time looking at that. Alright, and then they have a couple of screenshots here too as well. So this is what you can expect in the PTB. So there's a couple of map pictures here. You can see some of the windows have been changed, some of the loops. I am curious, I scroll up, I know breakable walls are coming to the game soon, at least that's what I've heard. And I don't know, that just looks a little bit weird to me. I'm curious if that has anything to do with it, or maybe I'm just crazy, but something about that window just looks a bit different to me. So if you guys know anything about that, go ahead and leave that down in the comments below. One of the other big changes coming with the mid-chapter update, controller sensitivity is going to be improved. If you want the controller to be more sensitive, I think they're doubling it for you now, or nearly doubling it. If you play at lower sensitivities, don't worry about it, that's not going to change, but you will be able to up the sensitivity more here coming in the future. And then here's just a couple of various things that they're going to go ahead and change or improve as well. So the first thing here, Legion tracking. While Feral Frenzy is active, the Legion will not see pools of blood or scratch marks until their fatigue ends. So in the next update, the Legion will now regain their tracking abilities as soon as Feral Frenzy ends, rather than at the end of their fatigue. This should help prevent cases where you lose track of a survivor while fatigued. So once Feral Frenzy is not active anymore, you have that stun period. You're going to be able to see scratch marks or pools of blood during this time instead of after you kind of black out a little bit. So that's going to help you from losing track of survivors in that short time window. The next thing here, attempt hook escape feedback update. One of the common mistakes new players make is attempting to escape the first time they are hooked. To make the risk more obvious, we've added visual effects and audio, making it clearer that failing an escape attempt is hurting you and speeding up the sacrifice. I think that's probably a good idea. That's actually something I've thought about since I started playing Dead by Daylight, because definitely in the first couple matches I was in, I didn't realize that you could just sit there and be saved. I thought that you had to try and escape. It's kind of embarrassing to look back at it now, but I think that's a common, like they say, it's a common mistake that new players make, and I think stressing that is going to be good for all new players. All right, next is head-on UI improvements. The perk icon for head-on will now light up with a timer, similar to inner strength, to show when it will activate. So this way you're not waiting in a locker, just waiting to see if it's ready to use. It will let you know. I think that's good as well. That way you know if you're going to be able to stun the killer, and it's not a surprise for you if it does or does not. Alright, there's also going to be an updated Mori interaction, so the Mori animation is now going to play once a short interaction is complete. So at this point, the killer is locked into the animation until it is finished. This prevents the Mori from being cancelled repeatedly to annoy someone. This just helps in terms of bullying in the game. I don't know, maybe it's being toxic, but the killer will not be able to cancel the animation or anything of that nature. You are going to have to complete that Mori animation. You're locked in it. The last thing here, so further protection hit improvements. So protection hits are kind of, I don't want to say an issue in the game, but it's definitely something that people have problems with, as they aren't always awarded consistently. But it does sound here that they are trying to make sure that this is going to be something that's awarded consistently moving forward. So they've already made some changes in the past. This is just going to further improve on that. So once you come within a range of an injured survivor, that's going to have lingering effects. So you can still get a protection hit even if it's a few seconds after that injured survivor moves away. So this is going to make protection hits more, like I said, they're going to be awarded more consistently. They're going to be a little bit easier to get just because they're changing the way that range works. So if you'd like to play with any of these changes, they are available in the player test build, which is going to be up already. It is April 8th as of when I'm recording, so if it's past April 7th, then it's open. So yeah, so that's the end of the April developer update. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments down below. Do you agree with these changes? Do you not like them? Do you disagree? Just let me know kind of what you guys think about the subject. Are you a killer main? Are you a survivor main? Like I said, I'm a survivor main, but I do understand why these changes need to take place. I'm not going to try and get too butthurt about it. I know I've seen a lot of things on the internet over the past couple days, some survivor mains being very upset that this is going to be unbalanced, but I think keeping in mind, like I said, the previous update about Ruin, this is just going to help balance it back out. So, like I said, those are my thoughts on it. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. So stay tuned for my next one. I do have a couple more videos coming out soon. I already have them ready to go. I just have to film them, edit them, get them put up. Hopefully I'm going to be able to start putting music in the background of my videos so it's not awkwardly silent. So like I said, stay tuned for that. If you liked this video, go ahead and leave a like down below. And like I said, go ahead and leave a comment telling me what you thought about these upcoming changes. While you're down there, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and click the little notification bell next to it just to let me know that you like the video, and make sure that you never miss a video from me again. That way you know what's going on in Dead by Daylight. You have some tips, tricks, everything I'm going to be posting on my channel. So once again, guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye!